Andi had just stepped out of the hospital when she saw a young mother crying with her baby in her arms. Her sobs were so loud, everyone around stopped to stare. Something inside Andi told her to stop, and that single decision would change both their lives forever. This is African Folktales with Nesinem. Listen closely to this shocking story. Andi walked over to the lady and asked her what the problem was. "I might be able to help you, or I might know people who can," Andi said. The young lady nodded, and together they got into Andi's car. What the lady said shocked Andi to her bones. She told Andi that she had been married for 5 years and already had 6 children. Andi felt shock, anger, and pity for the young lady all at the same time. She kept talking, telling Andi how the husband would sleep with her every night and would not take no for an answer. After delivery, he would only give her 7 days before getting intimate with her again. The lady said she was an orphan and had nowhere to go. Apart from this problem, the young woman said her husband treated her well. The lady went on to say that the doctors have warned her that if she doesn't stop, she might end her own life. Andi asked the young woman if she had thought of getting contraceptives or asking her husband to get one as well. The lady said her husband had refused to use any contraceptives and had forbidden her from doing so. Andi let her calm down because sharing her experience had made the young lady cry. After she was done, Andi said one thing to her: "I want you to listen to my own experience." Andi went on to tell her about a friend she had known many years ago named Dani.
Dani and Andi attended the same secondary school. Andi and Dani had never been close in school, but they were always cordial. Fate brought them together again at a clinic, and they quickly reconnected. Soon, their casual meetings became regular hangouts. Andi believed a genuine friendship had blossomed, but she was wrong. But if Andi had seen the future and had gotten a glimpse of what would happen, she would have walked past Dani and not bothered to look her way, or better still, pretended she was blind. Andi had just gotten a job at a university as a lecturer, while Dani was a stay-at-home mom married to a successful businessman with 2 boys. One day, Andi confided in her friend that she would love to settle down, but she just hasn't met the right person yet. Dani encouraged her friend, telling her the right person would soon come along. But days after, Dani called Andi and told her she wanted to introduce her to someone. They all met at a bar. Immediately Andi set her eyes on him, she was immediately infatuated. The young man could only be described as gorgeous. Dani introduced him as Steve Ike. Dani said Steve was her bestie, and she thought she should connect both of them since they were both really good people and she felt they would be a good fit. Andi and Steve started dating, and true to what Dani said, she and Steve were a perfect fit. After 3 months of dating, they could complete each other's sentences. The only problem she had was that Steve and Dani were really close. Scratch that, too close. They could be on a good date and Dani would call and Steve would end the date and run to her side.
At first, Andi found it cute, but slowly it became very intolerable. They would sometimes wear the same outfit, but exchanging gifts on Valentine's Day was where Andi drew the line. If your boyfriend's female bestie wears matching outfits with him, are you staying or leaving the relationship? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But Steve told Andi that what existed between him and Dani was just a friendship and nothing more. After 2 years of dating, Steve organized a surprise engagement, and a very happy Andi said yes. After Andi accepted the ring, she looked up to see the write-up on the wall of the hotel room. It read, "Dani, please marry me." Dani quickly explained that the mix-up was from the planners. She had given them the correct name and they had switched up the letters. That could have been another sign, but Andi overlooked it. After their engagement, the wedding preparation started. Though Dani was her good friend, it bothered Andi that Steve had to run all the wedding preparation decisions by Dani. But Andi tried to keep calm. She didn't want it to look like she was complaining too much, and so they forged on. Dani picked the wedding colors, the vendors, and the hotel they lodged. Andi felt suffocated. A few weeks to the wedding, Andi confided in her sister, Comfort. Her sister was mortified on her behalf. "You mean he passes all the decisions by her first?" she asked Andi. "If she was his mother, we would call him a mama's boy. But what do you call this?" Comfort asked. She advised her sister to put the wedding on hold and table the matter of boundaries with his bestie, or she walk away.
But Andi couldn't see herself calling off the wedding. There was no way she was going to do that. Andi thought of the embarrassment and continued. She really felt things would change after the wedding and Dani was going to give them some space, but she was so wrong. They traveled to Mauritius for their honeymoon and Andi was shocked to find Dani vacationing there with her husband. Andi was slowly reaching her breaking point.
Before we continue, a big shout out goes to Ree, watching from the USA, and Joanne, watching from Antigua and Barbuda. Leave me a comment telling me your name and where you're watching from. I'd love to give you a shout out in my next video. If you're enjoying this story, click on the like button. Share this story with a friend or two that will enjoy it. Consider subscribing to this channel for more intriguing African tales. Back to the story.
One day, Andi was offered a 5-year training in Germany. At this point, their marriage was only 3 months old. Andi debated between passing off the training to focus on her marriage, but it was a great opportunity with a promotion and attractive benefits waiting. Steve told her to decline, telling her that Dani thought her leaving was a very bad idea. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Andi accepted the offer, and truly, going to Germany propelled her career, and aside from her job, she was able to access a lot of side hustles and gigs. Andi was able to send money home, and with it, Steve was able to build 5 houses. Though Andi wasn't present to see Steve and Dani continue that best friendism, they didn't stop posting videos and pictures on the internet. Every birthday, Steve would rush to the internet to make posts long and heap praises on Dani, with hashtag #BestiesForever being their hashtag. After completing the training and a few years of fieldwork, Andi decided to surprise her husband. She got to the house and Andi knew she was at the right place because she had been sent pictures and videos of their house. Everything looked exactly like the pictures Steve had sent her. She pushed the door open gently, expecting to surprise her husband. But the person she saw standing in the living room made her heart stop. It was Dani, and Dani's stomach was round and heavy with pregnancy.
Betraying Dani's hand slipped and crashed to the floor. Both women stared at each other in stunned silence. Just then, the door behind Andi opened. Steve walked in. The moment his eyes fell on Andi, the color drained from his face. "Andi, what are you doing here?" Steve asked. Andi was confused. She all of a sudden felt like an intruder. She looked up and her eyes sighted a portrait of Steve and Dani in a photograph at what looked like a baby shower. The way he held her didn't look like two besties taking a picture. Then she saw the picture that broke her heart. It was a wedding portrait of Dani and Steve. Andi forced her way in and walked up to the wedding portrait hanging on the wall. "What's the meaning of this?" Andi asked. "Well, now you know," Steve said casually. "Dani and I are married," Steve said. Andi felt like she was being pranked. "Hold on," Andi said, as she struggled to make sense of what was happening. "Dani is married with 2 boys, so how can I leave and come back and find her married to you and pregnant too?" Andi said. Dani took a seat and started munching on a plate of snacks, completely unbothered. "Andi, we found out we love each other deeply and wanted to spend our life together as man and wife," Steve said. Andi suddenly felt like she was going to pass out. The same lady that had introduced her to Steve was the one stabbing her in the back. "Dani, how could you?" Andi said. "Oh, please, stop playing victim. You obviously knew we were more than friends, but you still went ahead and married him," Dani said. Andi felt she was in some sort of dream world. "Look, if you must know, I only married my husband because he had money. Steve is the father of my 2 boys. Immediately you went abroad and started sending money home, we decided to drop that boring man I was married to. And with your funds, we have created a life for ourselves," Dani said. Andi suddenly felt unsafe. She immediately walked out and the door was shut behind her. That night, Andi did not sleep. She replayed everything Dani had said over and over in her mind. She couldn't believe the very woman who introduced her to Steve had teamed up with him to use her. By morning, the tears had dried. What remained was anger and determination. The following morning, she returned with the police. She arrested both of them. She charged Steve to court and sued him for bigamy. Though there was no proof of a legal marriage between Dani and Steve, all the properties were seized and everything was handed back to Andi. She continued with her life like nothing happened. Andi looked at the young lady who had stopped crying and was listening to her intently. "I am not asking you to leave your marriage, but I want you to understand one bitter truth. If anything happens to you, your husband will move on, faster than you think," Andi said. She remained quiet, allowing the words to sink in. Then Andi brought out her card and gave it to her. "When you're ready to take charge of your life, you can give me a call," Andi said, and the lady thanked her and left. As the young lady watched Andi drive off, she couldn't believe what she just heard. That night, as her 1-month-old baby slept in his cot and her husband slept soundly beside her, Jasmine had a decision to make. Just like every other night, he had insisted they get intimate. That night, Jasmine sent Andi a message. The following morning, after her husband had gone to the office, she took her 5 kids to school. Jasmine got into a cab and went to Andi's office. After talking with Andi, she went back home with a job. When Jasmine told her husband Enze that she had gotten a job, he was furious. He paced around the living room angrily. "Have I ever failed to provide for this family?" he shouted. Jasmine kept her voice calm. "For 6 years, my body has been your factory for children. Now I want to live," Jasmine said. Enze laughed bitterly. "Who will take care of the children? Or is that your new boss's job now?" Jasmine explained that she had already arranged for a house help and that her baby could stay with her at work until she found a creche. But Enze was not convinced.
From that day, the atmosphere in the house changed. Enze became cold and distant. He barely spoke to Jasmine. But something else changed too. For the first time in years, Jasmine began to feel like she had control over her own life. 3 months later, Jasmine's new job was going very well. Her boss admired her dedication. Within 3 months, she had already helped the company secure several important clients. But one afternoon, something strange happened. Jasmine saw a woman sitting in the reception area crying. The sight reminded her of the day Andi found her outside the hospital. Jasmine walked closer to the woman. Something about her looked familiar. When the woman finally lifted her face, Jasmine froze. It was Enze's secretary. The secretary was trembling. "Madame, I didn't know who else to talk to," she said. "What is it?" Jasmine asked. The woman hesitated before speaking. Then she whispered, "Your husband is the father of my baby." Jasmine felt the world spin around her. The woman continued crying. "He told me he wasn't sleeping with you anymore. He said you were always pregnant and sick." Jasmine couldn't believe what she was hearing. For years, she had almost destroyed her body giving him children, while he was secretly sleeping with another woman. That evening, Jasmine sat quietly in the living room waiting. When Enze entered the house, he loosened his tie and smiled. "Why are you sitting here all alone? Were you missing me?" he asked. Jasmine looked him in the face. "Your secretary came to see me today," she said calmly. Enze froze. "What are you talking about?" Jasmine pushed the envelope across the table. "She is pregnant, and she says the baby belongs to you." Inside it was a DNA test request form. Enze looked confused. Jasmine's voice hardened as she stared at him. "I used to think my body was your factory, Enze, but it turns out I was just the only one who didn't know you had a branch office," Jasmine said as she kept staring at him. For the first time since their marriage began, Enze had no words. Jasmine looked at the house where she had spent 6 years giving birth and sacrificing her health. For the first time, she realized something painful. She had never truly been happy there. Jasmine packed her bags that night and took her children with her. She moved into a small apartment close to her workplace. A week later, she called Andi. "Thank you," she said softly. "For what?" Andi asked. "For saving my life the day you stopped your car. Now I want to ask you something. If you were Jasmine, would you stay in the marriage for the sake of the children? Or would you walk away and start your life again? And another question. Did Andi ignore too many warning signs before marrying Steve? Be honest. Tell me what you would have done in the comment section. Sometimes, the advice we give others comes from the pain we once survived. And sometimes, walking away from a toxic situation is the bravest decision a woman can make. If you enjoyed this story, I am sure you're going to enjoy the story on your screen. Click to watch, and I will see you there.